It is not my having only speaking
after 10,000 years.
We are saying now, just realizing that those who are telling that we are after, but really they are not. You are saying they are taken culture to family without it is not that often. And that sector is
very dangerous.
no relation with Atma, no Pranat of Israel, we are saying all this. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Right.
Kotis of the Mahamana. In less and less, very, very rare to love the real person. But due to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are saying and we are now making this beautiful. But after some time,
will Lord Chaitanya keep sending great personalities to come and assist? Like our
maybe, but because Kalyu is going,
yes,
he should be also giving them. And we are lucky that at the moment is that we are seeing so many. After that, it will be bad. Jagannath will vanish. Ganges will Jamuna is going to be. Govardhan Hill also will not be there. They have done so much now. About half mile, more than mile. All the cones in groups have witnesses of Krishna cultivated.
I feel like I've dwindled down for many lifetimes and now I've become serious about Krishna consciousness, and now it is another chance that we have to become serious.
Also, we are very so many devotees getting up all these practices as well.
But sometimes we see new children born in that are bright, and it's going to rise for some time. There's some difficulties.
The link will never be lost. Nothing knows happen and all. This is Sanatana. Forever. So, it may be that very lean and but yet sometimes it is so.
Right. One other question is, I've read something in the different parts of the universe, on different demigods planets, sometimes the Lord remains there personally, like Vamana Deva is in Sutala. So, in Lord Nrsimha and Lord, some of the other incarnations, are they residing personally in some of the planets, or are the demigods worshipping Murti?
So, there are some ups there, devotees there. Like in Patal, Lord Sutala. Prahlad Maharaj is person, Kali Maharaj is. In Patal, those Indras are changes, but Indra, any substitute, any Indra will come. In the Brahmalok, who will be the Brahma at that time? Sahasrara. And in other places, like in Purush, Hanuman will worship Ram.
Yes. But is Ram present there?
Yes. But we are not seeing. Yes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also in Maya, Krishna is also in Vrindavan. Worshipping going on. That's very rare person in your life.
Butter is done. Dear Bhakti Vajriya Madhav Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
You're not saying?
Right, for correction. Oh, right there.
on.
I have received your letter dated June 21st, 1996. Because I am presently on tour, I was delayed in responding to your letter. Please forgive me for this. I have read your letter. In this regard, I want to say that you should not take my response as that of an opponent, but rather as that of a friend. For about 55 years, I have had the good fortune to associate with very learned disciples of Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, who are deeply conversant with all the conclusions of Shastra. As a result, I had the opportunity to hear from and serve many of his most prominent disciples, such as my Gurudev, Pujyapad Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Pujyapad Prauti Maharaj, Pujyapad Giri Maharaj, Pujyapad Gosvami Maharaj, Pujyapad Vaikanath Maharaj, Pujyapad Puri Maharaj, Pujyapad Madhav Maharaj, and Pujyapad Sridhar Maharaj. I consider Srila Swami Maharaj as my Shiksha Guru. I have had his association and served him since 1946. By virtue of my being his Shiksha disciple, my faith in him and service to him is no less than any member of ISKCON. He used to show me even greater affection and respect than his own disciples. Kindly take note of all these facts first, and then consider what I am about to explain. Tulsi Das ji...
I know all these facts. Are not इसमें आया है
लेकिन बाद में आए यहाँ पर आपने केवल उनके शिष्यों के लिए बोला था बाद में आपका इस बारे में Tulsi Das ji was a Vaishnava belonging to the Ramananda Sampradaya, a branch of the Sri Sampradaya. The four Vaishnava Sampradayas are all worthy of our respect. His name, Tulsi Das,
I was going to ask. Yes.
His name, Tulsi Das, is a Vaishnava name. He wore the vertical Buddha Pundra Vaishnava Tilak. He wore Tulsi Mala around his neck and was initiated into the Sri Ram mantra, which is a mantra for obtaining perfection. His guru was Siddha Narahari Narsinghadev Das. His worshipful deities were Sri Sitaram Chandra, who are incarnations of Sri Radha Krishna. He explained the predominant glories of Sri Nam, especially for the age of Kali. He accepted the 9 forms of bhakti, which are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. He accepted the jivas to be separated parts and parcels of the Lord, as has been explained in the Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. He accepted the doctrine of Achintya Beda Bhed, or in other words, the simultaneous oneness and difference which exists between the omnipotent Lord and his potency, Shakti Shaktiman. He refuted the theory of Mayavad throughout his writings. He completely disregarded Sayujya Mukti and the other forms of liberation. He translated the Sanskrit shlokas of the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, and especially Srimad Bhagavatam into Hindi poetical verse.
Not Valmiki Ramesh?
He didn't mention that. He has written of the importance of Sharanagati. He accepted Bhagavat Prem as the highest goal and object for the jivas. Therefore, he has not expressed Mayavad conclusions in any of his writings. It is incorrect that Sriman Madhvacharya has accepted only...
I want to add, it is written that it looks like from outside that these are things of Mayavad. But actually, like Srimad Bhagavatam, Advaya Gyan, Advaita, Aham Brahmasmi, Kaivalya, all written in Srimad Bhagavatam. So he has written, but meaning is like Srimad Bhagavatam. You should tell it. You will remember? What is it?
Devotee and Brijvasi gave me this book by Tulsi Das.
Oh. I have to give it what I told. No. If it is proper, you can give it. Okay?
It is incorrect that Srimad Madhvacharya has accepted only the Valmiki Ramayana as authoritative. In his commentary on a statement from the Skanda Puran, he has written as follows: Rigyaju Samatparavachya Bharatam Ancharatrakam Mula Ramayan Chaiva Shastram Itya Vidiyate Chanukulam Itasya Tasya
You should underline it.
Yeah, that's it.
Huh?
It is incorrect to sing.
No. You should underline this.
What do you mean?
Anukula.
Prominent bold, so that in this word, then you will become. Is it underlined?
Better you can put it in intervention.
That is saying that.
Say. In what Matha you have not written? Where you have written? From where it has been taken? Where you have? That's very better. यहाँ पर लिखना चाहिए ना? You could write here in bracket from where it has been taken.
I have written here. A statement from the Skanda Puran.
It's Skanda Puran. You know that is. Then it is all right.
I can also put here.
Yes.
Gauriya Kantahara.
Yes.
The four Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sam, and Atharva, the Mahabharata, the original Ramayana, and the Pancharatra are all authoritative and bona fide scriptures. Any scriptures which follow in support of them are all accepted as authoritative.
You should mark this also.
Other scriptures apart from these are not accepted as authoritative. The conclusion is that all scriptures which give favorable support to these literatures are also accepted as bona fide and authoritative. Otherwise, all the books of Sri Ramanuja, Sri Rupa Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, and Srila Kaviraj Goswami could not be accepted as authoritative. It is irrelevant to say that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami did not accept evidence from the Ramayana of Tulsidas, because at that time it had not yet been published. Tulsidas was a contemporary of Sri Rupa Goswami. In his numerous books, he often glorified Vrajendranandan Krishna. There are no learned scholars or acharyas of other sampradayas who wrote commentaries on any of the books of Srila Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, or Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Yet these books certainly cannot be said to be inauthentic. The book Prema Sagar is a Hindi translation of Srimad Bhagavatam done by the well-known Mayavadi Sri Santanu Dwivedi. The Tulsi Ramayana, however, is a book translated by a highly reputed perfected soul of deep spiritual realization. If the fact that he wrote in Hindi is a disqualification, then we must conclude that the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and the Gita and Bhagavatam translations and purports of Param Pujyapad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, due to being written in Bengali and English respectively, are also inauthentic.
They're told that it was from mind.
Manas the mind.
So Manas, it has been told Manas, not for Atma. In argument we can prove that Srimad Bhagavata is the same thing, like Bhakti Yogena Manasa Samyak Parinati. It was also like this, Samadhi Grantha. So Manasa here also is Samadhi Grantha. Yes, actually. Understood? Mm-hmm. In question, they have put a question that it was not really related to Atma. It was Manashik ground.
From the mind.
So we will not paragraph by number.
Yes.
Understood? That similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyas, Valmiki, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami all like this. It has been realized in Samadhi by Bhakti Yoga. So here means Manasa means not in mind but in Samadhi, like Vyas said. You can count this slope. Bhakti Yogena Manasa, and reference will be given here. Vijnana. Vijnana. Yes. After that,
if Sri Tulsidas was indeed a Mayavadi, then kindly present some concrete evidence to support your conclusion. Blind following will simply not do. You are all learned research scholars. You can examine his writing for yourself. I know quite well that Srila Swami Maharaj was not especially strong in Hindi. He never personally read the Tulsi Ramayana. He may have made some disparaging remarks, having heard some mistaken conclusions about Ram Charitamanas from the mouths of Mayavadis or so-called devotees who are not conversant with the conclusions of Shastra and who are devoid of unalloyed pure bhakti. It is my conviction that if he had read the Tulsi Ramayana for himself, he would never have said those things. To give me articles in Bengali, which I would then translate into Hindi and publish in our Bhagavad Patrika newsletter.
Not in Hindi. Not Hindi article.
Bengali. Bengali article.
You
did the translation.
He used to give me articles in Bengali, which I would then translate into Hindi.
So I know money. I'm writing that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. In the beginning of his preaching in Jhansi, Prabhakar Mishra used to translate his Bengali articles.
Jhansi you have written?
Yeah. Prabhakar Mishra used to translate his Bengali articles on Chaitanya Charitamrita into Hindi. I have personally read and studied the Ram Charitamanas in its entirety at least 10 times.
What time?
Just come to come.
I am well acquainted with the conclusions of Vaishnava Shastra and have been associating with pure Vaishnavas for a long time. Consequently, I have not seen even a trace of Mayavad anywhere in this book. As I am traveling now, I don't have access to that book, but upon consulting it, I can surely provide you with concrete evidence from the direct statements.
If you want, you have written? If you want, I can give comments.
I can surely provide you with concrete evidence from the direct statements of the book to support my position. The question may be asked why we don't regard this book on the same level as the Gaudiya Vaishnava literature. The reason for this is that although, according to Vaishnava Siddhanta, it is accepted as bhakti scripture in a routine sense, it does not present a complete description of Raganuga or Rupanuga Rasmayi Bhakti. In a similar fashion, the Vishnu Puran and other Shastras do not propound Krishna Bhakti Ras, although they are certainly bhakti scriptures. Therefore, we accept Srimad Bhagavatam and the books of Sri Rup, Sanatan, and other Goswamis as being the most authoritative and efficacious for us. Please forgive me if this letter has caused you any discomfort. Vaishnav Darsana Das.
All right.
Okay.
Anything?
Just those two.
I think this is not any thought or control back it only.
No.
Very nice. Rama Charitamrita.
Yes. Then that should give any quotation of Tulsi Ramayana that it is or Vaishnava, against Vaishnava philosophy. Any slok taken. I know that some persons, those who are not lazy, not doing, they can explain in like Mayavad. But it is not. Krishna Advaita, he is also may be told Advaita, because the name of Advaita Saji is Advaita. So Krishna is Advaita also. Am Brahmasmi in Srimad Bhagavatam so many times. So that should be. If again, then I will strongly explain and teach it.